Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 8 Part 6 based on novel. So let's start. Maintain the formation and seal it. Do not allow it to escape. Hundreds of figures were suspended above a certain area of wastelands. They appeared to have formed a kind of mysterious formation. Majestic yuan power swept out from within their bodies, transforming into a large light array that sealed off the middle area. At this moment, a black demon corpse was within the middle of the light array. It was frantically striking the light formation that had formed. Its enormous strength directly shook the light formation until numerous ripples appeared. Swoosh! The broadsword in Wang Yang's hand furiously hacked downwards. An extremely formidable sword aura whizzed out and violently smashed onto the demon corpse's body, the wild and violent power directly sending the latter flying. Finally, it bounced off against the great formation's light barrier. The demon corpse immediately climbed back up despite suffering such a heavy blow. There was merely a faint white scar on its body. Damn it, its defense is too strong. Wang Yang's expression was somewhat ugly when he saw this situation. This strike of his was one that even a 9 yuan Nirvana stage expert would not dare to receive directly. However, it was practically powerless against the demon corpse's body. Ying Xiaoxiao's expression was grim as she stood beside Wang Yang. By relying on their superior numbers, they had indeed managed to trap this demon corpse. However, their attacks were unable to cause much harm to it. Moreover, it did not know fear and was clearly a killing machine that did not tire. If they continued to exhaust themselves in this manner, it would clearly be disadvantageous to them. After all, they could not possibly use all their time to contend against this demon corpse. Focus the attacks. Ying Xiaoxiao pondered for a moment before waving her hand and issuing a command. Currently, their only option was to first weaken its defense a little, and use even more people to launch attacks in the hopes of being able to break this demon corpse's defenses. Senior Sister Xiaoxiao, we seem to have been discovered by others. Just as Ying Xiaoxiao's command sounded out, Jing Yi's expression abruptly changed as he said. Ying Xiaoxiao and Wang Yang's eyes hardened when they heard this. They raised their heads and found quite a number of rushing wind sounds suddenly appearing in the sky a short distance away. Soon after, numerous figures began to appear in their sights. Human figures swiftly arrived in a nearby area in the sky. At a glance, their numbers seemed to be quite large. There were around 100 or so of them. However, these people were clearly not from the same faction. They were scattered in small groups and seemed like a small-sized faction within Eastern Xian region. Normally speaking, such people were even more troublesome to deal with. After all, the strength of such independent individuals was naturally quite substantial. Moreover, most of them had experienced many life and death battles and could be considered to be rather troublesome. The pressure of a super sect would naturally be much weaker against them. There were 4 figures standing in the empty air in front of the large group of people. These 4 were middle-aged. Their faces were thin, while a glint that could not be hidden flickered in their eyes. They were clearly all experienced individuals. Demon Corpse Her. At this moment, their eyes were watching the demon corpse that the Dao sect disciples had trapped a short distance away. Immediately, their gazes shifted and paused on the demon corpse's dantian. A faint white glow was being emitted from that spot. The pill that was rolling within it immediately caused the eyes of quite a number of people to become boiling hot. Mysterious life bone pill, what a treasure! These fellows are quite lucky. A man with a hooked nose stared in the distance with fiery hot eyes while he licked his lips and said, "These must be the Dao sect disciples." A red-robed man beside the hook-nosed man frowned slightly as he looked at the large number of disciples some distance away and said, "They are quite strong." Hehe, the Liu Dao, whom others calls the Crimson Demon Hand, is actually frightened by these young and inexperienced Dao sect brats. The last man, who appeared to have some kind of dry patches on his face, involuntarily mocked when he heard this. "Ku Ji you should stop making sarcastic comments in front of me." "What have I, Liu Dao, not experienced before?" The red-robed man laughed coldly. "Are you not interested in the situation before you?" The dry-faced man smilingly asked. From the looks of their situation, they are clearly unable to deal with that demon corpse. If we intervene, we will end up rescuing them. It is likely that they will show gratitude towards us. That red-robed man smiled in a sinister manner. However, they are large in numbers, a person behind the red-robed man said. They are merely a group of naive fellows who had lived under the protection of their sect. How can they be compared with our people, who have followed us into deadly battles every day? At that time, if they understand the situation, we will allow them to leave. If they do not, we can only teach them a lesson. The hook-nosed man laughed. There was a disdain that could not be hidden in his voice. Go, let us take a look. That man known as Crimson Demon Hand Liu Dao waved his hand and led the large group to slowly approach the area where the Dao sect disciples were located. When they moved, the Dao sect disciples, who were watching them, became a little tense. A cold light surged within the eyes of Ying Xiaoxiao and Wang Yang. Everyone, my Dao sect disciples are currently dealing with a demonic monster. In order not to be implicated, I hope that everyone can keep their distance. Ying Xiaoxiao threw a glance towards Wang Yang. The latter also became cautious. After which, she raised her head, looked at those people and spoke in a low voice. Ha ha, from the way I see it, you seem to be having a hard time because of this demon corpse. Why don't we help you deal with it? You Dao sect disciples still have to fight with the other sects. Don't waste your effort in such a place. That dry-faced man laughingly said. Ying Xiaoxiao's eyes sunk when she heard these words. Her eyes swept over the four people right at the front. After which, she discovered that these four were actually at the 9-yuan nirvana stage. From the looks of it, they could be considered to be a chiefs of small groups. Truth be told, such a person was even more troublesome to deal with than those large factions. They did not even possess a base of operations, and would change their locations after each battle. Even if they angered Dao sect would have to spend a great amount of effort if they wished to capture these people. Although Ying Xiaoxiao was aware that these people would not truly dare to murder them, they would definitely not hold back when it came to harassment. My Dao sect disciples will naturally deal with this demon corpse. There is no need for all of you to intervene. If you are smart, immediately get lost. Wang Yang did not have Ying Xiaoxiao's good temper. Upon seeing that these people had come with ill intent, his eyes became dark and cold as he warned in a low voice. A cruel aura suddenly swept out from within his body when he said these words. The black broadsword in his hand flicked with a densely cold light. Heh, what arrogant words! Liu Dao and the three others' expressions changed when they saw this situation. They immediately laughed coldly. Although you, Wang Yang, managed to take a second spot on the sect's wanted list, you were probably still playing in a corner when we first entered such a world. Why don't you come over and try? Wang Yang's eyes were dark and cold as he took a step forward. His expression was unusually vicious as he stared at these fellows. He was aware that as long as one was to soften even a little against such people, it would definitely be a case of give an inch, take a mile. All the Dao sect disciples' eyes were filled with fury. It was likely that they would have already attacked and killed all of these fellows if they did not need to maintain the formation to seal the demon corpse. Humph, you dare to be arrogant in such a situation? As long as we break the formation, this demon corpse will be freed. At that time, your Dao sect disciples will definitely suffer many deaths and injuries. Liu Dao spoke in a venomous voice. His tone was very threatening. Ying Xiaoxiao's eyes became slightly cold. She gently gave a hand sign. Seeing this hand sign of hers, 100 people from the 300 Dao sect disciples immediately withdrew from the formation and moved to stand behind Ying Xiaoxiao. Their eyes were coldly locked onto those people in front. From their stance, they did not have any intentions of giving in. Heh, what resolve! Liu Dao's group looked at the 100 people that had stepped out and the now slightly weaker light formation. His expression had changed a little. It was likely that he did not expect that Ying Xiaoxiao would actually dare to oppose them at such a time. Since this is the case, don't blame us for not being courteous. The eyes of the hook-nosed man were dark and stern. Soon after he gave a cold smile. He stepped forward and majestic Yuan power came sweeping forth. Finally, his hand fell downwards and prepared to attack. Swoosh! However, when his hand was about to fall, a hurried rushing wind sound suddenly appeared a short distance away. Subsequently, a light figure came flashing over in a ghost-like manner. In a flash, the figure had already appeared above the head of this hook-nosed man. After which, a black shadow that was accompanied by an unusually wild and violent force smashed down ruthlessly. Who? This sudden attack caused the hook-nosed man to have a change in expression. His fists tightened as bright golden light formed a gold light shield above his head. Bang! Without bothering to reply, a black tree branch heavily landed on the light shield, instantly blasting it apart. After which, the momentum of the tree was not reduced as it once again landed on the body of the shocked hook-nosed man. Ugh! A mouthful of fresh blood was directly spat out from the mouth of the hook-nosed man. The latter's body also shot downwards. Finally, it formed a large pit on the ground. Who? This split-second attack caused the expressions of Liu Dao's group to change drastically. They hurriedly raised their heads, only to see a skinny young man appearing with a flash a short distance away. He held a strange black tree trunk in his hands. At this moment, this young man was staring at them with abnormally ice-cold eyes. Soon after, his lips curled as a voice that contained a dense killing desire spread. A group of unsightly trash actually dare to target my Dao sect. If you do not get lost in 10 breaths' time, all of you will die. Liu Dao's group gazed at the young man who had appeared in the sky. Their expressions changed a little when they felt the cruel aura that surged from the latter's body. Their hearts were already a little uncertain despite daring to attack Ying Xiaoxiao. After all, Dao sect was one of the 8 super sects of Eastern Xian region. For them, it was undoubtedly a true titan. Although someone with nothing to lose would emerge victorious in a fight, if Dao sect was angered, their fury was clearly not something that they could endure. Therefore, they did not dare to have any thoughts of killing the other party and snatching the treasure since the beginning. At the very most, they would attempt to make these young Dao sect disciples afraid of them under the encouragement of their greed. Through this, they would end up gaining something. However, they did not expect that these seemingly young and naive Dao sect disciples to be so ferocious. Each one that appeared was more ferocious than the previous. Earlier, Ying Xiaoxiao's group had at least properly talked to them. However, the fellow who had just appeared had directly tossed out such unreasonable words. Brat, aren't you too arrogant? Liu Dao coldly laughed. They were rather much older than Lin Dong's group and had gained some reputation over the years. However, Lin Dong's act of throwing such ruthless words towards them at this moment caused fury to appear in their hearts. However, Lin Dong completely ignored their cold laughter. After 10 breaths, he finally slowly raised his eyes, which contained a surging murderous intent, and said, 10 breaths' time is up. A black light flashed and appeared behind Lin Dong the moment his voice sounded out. Finally, it transformed into a demon corpse and stood behind him. Demon corpse. Many exclamations were heard when this demon corpse appeared. Even Ying Xiaoxiao, Wang Yang and the rest had shocked faces as they stared at the black figure behind Lin Dong. After which, they involuntarily looked towards the demon corpse that was trapped within the light array as they started to breathe a little more deeply. They were truly unable to imagine that Lin Dong had not only dealt with the demon corpse that was chasing them, but had even taken control of it. Liu Dao's group looked at the demon corpse behind Lin Dong with shocked eyes. They immediately inhaled a breath of cold air. Everyone could not help but take 2 steps back. Ha ha, brother, please do not be anxious. We are only passing by. The expressions of Liu Dao's group had transformed in an instant. They exchanged looks with each other before they hurriedly cried out in embarrassment. Their bodies carefully pulled back while they cursed quietly in their hearts. Could it be that the current younger generation of these super sects was already this frightening? Get lost. Lin Dong gazed at the fellows whose expressions had changed. He did not have the mood to tangle with them. Immediately, his eyes turned cold as he snapped chillingly. After hearing this snarl from Lin Dong, Liu Dao's group no longer dared to be furious in their hearts. They hurriedly nodded and led their subordinates to turn around and flee. They were not fools. Given this situation, they could forget about getting a share of the reward. Moreover, if they angered such a monster, it was likely that their group would suffer serious injuries and deaths. Ying Xiaoxiao and the rest watched as the group, that had previously pestered them endlessly, flee dejectedly at this moment. All of them involuntarily felt somewhat helpless. It was likely that they were speechless in the face of such characters. "Are you all right?" Lin Dong turned around after frightening away those fellows. The icy cold, cruel aura on his face slowly disappeared. He smiled at Ying Xiaoxiao's group and asked, "We're fine. It is just that we were a little unlucky. One would normally not meet such irksome fellows. However, they were quite strong. For 9 yuan Nirvana stage." Ying Xiaoxiao spoke somewhat helplessly. "They are all some old and experienced fellows in Eastern Xian region. It is not surprising for them to possess such strength." Lin Dong smilingly said. After all, those 4 from earlier were all middle-aged. After having trained for so many years, it would not be overly strange for them to possess such a strength. "Lin Dong, this demon corpse of yours, you have refined it into a puppet." Wang Yang's eyes were surprised and could not help but ask as he watched the demon corpse that was following closely behind Lin Dong. "I have used my Yuan spirit to control it." Lin Dong smiled and said. Ying Xiaoxiao's and Wang Yang's expressions changed slightly when they heard these words. It was likely that they clearly understood the risk of such a method. However, when they saw Lin Dong's unworried appearance, they knew that the latter likely possessed his own means to avoid this kind of danger. "Big sis, have you not finished off this demon corpse yet?" Ying Huan also came forward. She looked at the demon corpse striking wildly within the light formation as she said, "Yes, the defense of this fellow is too frightening. We are able to trap it, but we cannot finish it off." Ying Xiaoxiao laughed bitterly. "Remove the formation. I will deal with it." Lin Dong smiled and said. With his experience from earlier, he was clearly aware of how to deal with this demon corpse that had extremely powerful defenses. Upon hearing this, Ying Xiaoxiao hesitated for a moment before nodding. Since Lin Dong was able to finish off one demon corpse, it was likely that it would not be too difficult for him to deal with a second one. Immediately, she waved her hand and the Dao sect disciples in the air swiftly withdrew their Yuan power, scattering the light array that trapped the demon corpse. Roar! The scarlet color within the eyes of the demon corpse soared when the light formation was scattered. Its body moved and transformed into a black light that charged towards the Dao sect disciples around it. Bang! However, its body had just charged forward when the demon corpse standing behind Lin Dong also rushed out. The latter was just like a cannonball as it ruthlessly struck the former's body. Immediately, the two directly landed on the ground, smashing the surface and causing an enormous pit to be formed. 2 demon corpses frantically tumbled on the ground. Numerous cracks were formed on the ground wherever they tumbled past. Such frightening strength caused quite a number of Dao sect disciples to be quietly speechless. Lin Dong lowered his head and watched the demon corpses that had tangled together. He curled his hand and a light formation appeared. In the next instant, his body suddenly rushed downwards and directly appeared in front of that demon corpse. After which, he curled his hand and his palm directly slammed onto the dantian at the demon corpse's abdomen. Sizzle sizzle. The black color on the dry skin of the demon corpse that possessed a powerful defensive strength swiftly disappeared at this moment. With a push of his palm, the strong defense that caused Ying Xiaoxiao and the rest to feel helpless against was once again penetrated by Lin Dong. His palm immediately closed and the white light cluster at the demon corpse's dantian was grabbed and pulled out. Done. Ying Xiaoxiao, Wang Yang and all the Dao sect disciples in the air were stunned as they watched this scene. After which, they turned to face each other. They were completely quiet at that moment. It was really impossible for them to imagine that the demon corpse, which did not show any reaction regardless of the violent strikes they threw at it, would actually be dealt with by Lin Dong in such a simple manner. Ying Xiaoxiao and Wang Yang had stunned faces as their bodies gradually descended. They looked at the white light cluster in Lin Dong's hand for a while. Soon after, they looked at his hand, which had formed a light array earlier, and fell into a deep thought. It seemed that Lin Dong had used some sort of technique to break the frightening defense of the demon corpse. Having lost that defense, the demon corpse would appear to be no different from a crab that had lost its shell. Its fighting strength would be reduced. Senior sister Xiao Xiao and senior brother Wang Yang have both stepped into the peak of the 9-yuan nirvana stage. This mysterious life bone bead has a greater effect for the both of you. Lin Dong tossed a white light cluster in his hand towards Ying Xiao Xiao. After which, he threw the mysterious life bone bead that he had obtained earlier towards Wang Yang. Although this mysterious life bone bead also had some use to Lin Dong, it would not be as effective for him compared to being consumed by the Ying Xiao Xiao duo. If these two had enough luck, they might even be able to touch the door towards the mysterious life stage. In this way, their fighting strength would undoubtedly soar. This would be quite a great help when they subsequently met the members of Yuan Gate. Ying Xiao Xiao and Wang Yang received the mysterious life bone beads. They were momentarily startled before they hesitated and said, "You have the greatest credit in subduing the demon corpse. I don't need it. I'm good with receiving this thing." Lin Dong patted the second demon corpse that had been subdued. Although his Yuan spirit was only able to control one demon corpse, leaving another one as spare was not a bad thing. Ying Xiao Xiao and Wang Yang only nodded when they saw Lin Dong insist. They flipped their hands and kept the mysterious life bone beads. Senior sister Xiao Xiao, it seems that the copper cauldron that I have bought from Unique Devil City a couple of days ago contains an ancient treasure map. Can you identify which part of Unique Devil region it is located at? A thought subsequently crossed his mind when Lin Dong kept that demon corpse into his Qiankun bag. His mental energy surged out and formed a map in front of him. Ancient treasure map. Ying Xiao Xiao and Wang Yang were momentarily startled. Their eyes swiftly gathered towards the light map. However, a stunned expression quickly surfaced on their faces. Junior brother Lin Dong, this ancient treasure map, could it be the Burning Sky ancient stash? Ying Xiao Xiao asked. Oh. This time around, it was Lin Dong's turn to be startled. He had not even said the name of this ancient treasure. How could Ying Xiao Xiao know about it? Does senior sister Xiao Xiao know about this Burning Sky ancient stash? An ominous feeling surged out from Lin Dong's heart. Originally, he thought that no one knew about this thing. How could? There are quite a number of ancient stashes within Unique Devil region. This Burning Sky ancient stash is an extremely renowned one. As for this map of yours, it is likely that it does not possess much value. This is because many people know the location of the Burning Sky ancient stash. Lin Dong's expression immediately turned a little ugly when he heard Ying Xiao Xiao's words. The thing that he thought of as a treasure was actually trash? However, everyone might know its location, but no one has been able to successfully open the Burning Sky ancient stash till this day. Additionally, Yuan Gate has also targeted this Burning Sky ancient stash for many years. They will definitely head there this time around. To still decide to head there even after failing so many times, it is possible that they already possess some confidence in opening it. Open the Burning Sky ancient stash. Lin Dong frowned deeply. His heart pounded as he suddenly recalled the mysterious light token that had been melted from the copper cauldron. We should also head to the Burning Sky ancient stash. Ying Xiao Xiao and the rest were slightly stunned when they heard Lin Dong suddenly uttering these words after pondering for a moment. The Burning Sky ancient stash is one of the few extremely renowned ancient stashes in this Unique Devil region. Many super sects had targeted it over the years. The Burning Sky ancient stash will definitely be the place that attracts the most people during this great sect competition. We will likely end up meeting Yuan Gate if we head there. Ying Xiao Xiao voiced her thoughts. It doesn't matter if we meet them. It is only a matter of time. Moreover, if they are also interested in the Burning Sky ancient stash, it is likely that they will attack only after they have obtained the ancient stash. Lin Dong smiled faintly and said, "That's right, there are quite a number of ancient stashes in Unique Devil region, and there are also many powerful individuals from within these super sects. Have none of them tried to scout this place?" Lin Dong suddenly thought of something. Regardless of how strong those ancient stash seals were, people like Ying Xuanzi or the Yuan Gate sect masters should be able to brute force their way in. Unique Devil region is a forbidden ground for experts of that level. Not only will the demon chi riot because of their entry, but the ancient formation that seals this place will also reject them. Ying Xiaoxiao explained. The weaker one is, the weaker the rejection of this place would be. This is one of the key reasons why those super sect experts do not appear in Unique Devil region. There is actually such a reason. Lin Dong came to a sudden comprehension. Does Senior Sister Xiaoxiao think that we should not head to that burning sky ancient stash? Lin Dong asked once again. After all, Ying Xiaoxiao was currently the commander. They could only move if she agreed. Since you have already decided to head to the burning sky ancient stash, we will do as you say. However, you should also be prepared. If we end up meeting Yuan Gate, the Yuan Gate's 3 little kings cannot be compared to those fellows from earlier. Ying Xiaoxiao mused for a moment before gently nodding her head. She stared at Lin Dong and replied. Senior Sister Xiaoxiao, you can be rest assured. Although I dare not guarantee the safety of every disciple in our Dao sect, if Yuan Gate really dares to attack, at least 2 of the 3 little kings will die. Lin Dong softly said. There was a great disparity between his level of strength on the exterior when compared to the 3 little kings. However, if he was really forced until the extent where he would have to risk his life and unleash all of his cards, he had the confidence to kill 2 of the 3 little kings. Everyone could see an evil look suddenly rising onto Lin Dong's face when the latter uttered these words. Immediately, their hearts felt both a chill and some excitement. They were aware that Lin Dong would not boast for no reason. Since he dared to utter such words, there was definitely some ground behind such confidence. Senior brother Lin Dong, please be rest assured. In the worst case, we will engage in a bloody battle with them. If they wish to step on the face of our Dao sect, we will also break one of their legs. All the Dao sect disciples around spoke with flushed red faces. That's right. In any case, I have long been irritated by looking at those damn people. Ying Xiaoxiao could only helplessly shake her head when she saw the excited faces of these Dao sect disciples. After which, she softly said, since that is the case, we should leave immediately. If I am not wrong, the Yuan Gate disciples will hurry towards the burning sky ancient stash after entering Unique Devil region. Therefore, we should also quickly head there. Understood. Lin Dong nodded. Let's go. Ying Xiaoxiao did not say any more when she saw this. Her body moved and she transformed into a light figure that rushed outwards. Lin Dong, Wang Yang, Ying Huan and the many Dao sect disciples immediately followed behind her. After which, they turned into a large cluster of bright lights that bolted towards the deeper parts of the wastelands. The burning sky ancient stash was situated at the middle area of Unique Devil region. There was quite a great distance from Unique Devil region's outer parts to it. Even though Lin Dong's group traveled at their fastest pace, they would need 10 days to reach their destination. Because they were already a little behind Yuan Gate, the Dao sect disciples even traveled at night during these 10 days. Despite taking such actions, the results were not very substantial. This was because there were extremely troublesome demonic monsters within Unique Devil region. The only thing that caused Lin Dong's group to sigh in relief was that the demonic monsters they met were not as difficult to deal with as those demon corpses. Otherwise, even though Lin Dong possessed a method that could specially deal with them, it would be extremely difficult for the ordinary Dao sect disciples. Moreover, the cooperation between the Dao sect disciples was becoming increasingly better while they traveled and battled demonic monsters. Moreover, they no longer lost their heads and panicked like they did initially. Clearly, only a true battle would enrich one's experiences. Lin Dong's group also met with quite a number of treasure seekers who had entered Unique Devil region while they traveled. Although the strength of these people were not considered weak, no one dared to head over and find trouble with them like Liu Dao's group. After all, not everyone were as bold as Liu Dao's group. The Dao sect's prestige was quite a great deterrent to them. Other than these treasure seekers, Lin Dong's group also met some disciples from other sects that possessed quite a great reputation in Eastern Xian region. Although these sects were not as powerful as Dao sect, they could also be considered to be ranked amongst the super sects. Hence, some conflict occurred due to a variety of reasons when they met. However, a battle ultimately did not erupt. It was likely that both parties were able to restrain themselves. 10 days gradually flowed past amidst their hurried travels. After experiencing quite a number of tough battles, the Tao sect members had finally stepped into the middle area of unique devil region. Earth Hall disciples, form a defensive formation. Flood Hall disciples, hold back the remaining demonic monsters. Sky Hall and Desolate Hall disciples, attack. Hundreds of light figures were suspended in the air within this chaotic ground. Their positions were extremely orderly. They were able to advance and withdraw in a rather well-coordinated manner. A lady was issuing orders in an orderly fashion a short distance away. Bang bang. Majestic and formidable fluctuations swiftly spread apart in the sky. Wave after wave of ferocious attacks came in all directions as they ruthlessly landed on the 10 enormous dark black demonic monsters below, which were being trapped by a light array. An attack of such numbers directly flattened these monsters as fresh blood scattered in all directions. Lin Dong and a couple of others were hovering in the air. They lowered their heads to watch the intense battle below before nodding involuntarily. After all, they were all disciples of Tao sect. The cooperation that they had, which was originally not bad, was honed over these 10 days of actual battle until the Tao sect's group fighting strength had finally taken shape. The battle below ended quickly. After which, some disciples landed and began to swiftly clear the battleground. The remaining disciples landed and sat on the ground to replenish their exhausted yuan power. At this moment, Ying Xiaoxiao had also rushed over from a short distance away. She looked at Lin Dong and the others before raising her head to watch the dark sky in the north. She said, "In another half a day, we will reach the area where the burning sky ancient stash is located." "Oh, we're already reaching." Lin Dong's eyes immediately became focused as he said, "No wonder there are more and more people appearing nearby." Yes, the allure of the burning sky ancient stash is extremely great. Even those from the 8 super sects will travel here from all directions. Moreover, there will be even more people from other factions. All of them will gather outside the burning sky ancient stash. Ying Xiaoxiao nodded and explained. From a certain point of view, the great sect competition will also officially begin here. The people from the other super sects will also come here. Lin Dong smiled slightly. After which, he raised his head and looked towards the distant black sky. The area in a distance appeared to be silently burning. After having experienced the previous dullness, it was finally going to become lively. I truly look forward to it. The Tao sect disciples once again stood up after half an hour of recuperation. Without further ado, their large group once again transformed into a cluster of lights that whistled towards the northern sky. The black land swiftly pulled back while they flew. This continued for around half an hour before someone suddenly discovered that the darkness below had begun to weaken. A dark red color replaced it on the land, appearing like a burning flame. This scene caused everyone's minds to be jolted. They knew that they had reached the burning sky ancient stash. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. A large cluster of lights once again crossed a black mountain range before them. Finally, they slowly came to a stop in the air. Numerous fiery hot eyes looked to their front. Lin Dong's figure also came to a halt at this moment. He lifted his head, only to see an indescribably large bright red basin in front of him. If one was to look down at this basin from the sky, one would discover that it was actually an extremely large handprint. From the looks of it, it appeared as though a god had left an imprint of his palm on the ground. At this moment, countless rushing wind sounds appeared above this handprint basin. At a glance, a sea of densely packed people that stretched on endlessly could be seen. From the looks of it, it seemed a majority of the many people who had entered unique devil region had gathered in this place. The temptation of the burning sky ancient stash really did live up to its reputation. This video will end here.